for drawing feet, I actually looked for videos that would work for this, but I feel like all of them take a very complicated approach that maybe isn't super practical. So I wanted to go ahead and make my own that's just kind of based on my method for drawing feet. As with all things, drawing any particular thing is all about whatever process makes the most sense to you. It's a lot less about the structure and all of that than it is like, as long as it makes sense to you and it comes out looking correct, you're probably on the right track. So I have this reference here that's got feet from several different angles, and I personally, whenever I draw feet, I always kind of start with the most basic shapes and then I work my way in from there. In this case, I'm going to start with this middle foot right here. We're going to start here, just because it's kind of very straightforward from the side. You can see the structures of the feet pretty well, and it's not got a lot of flexing or anything going on. So whenever you draw feet, obviously this one is connected to an ankle. I usually start with kind of a triangle, like so. Now you'll notice this triangle does not fit the foot at all, right? It is, here, let me make this a little bit see-through so you can kind of tell what's going on. Okay, so it doesn't fit the foot completely, but it does give me a general idea if I were trying to get a quick idea of where the foot was going to be, what it was going to look like. Now, digging in a little bit deeper, feet, the heel usually comes out, so I kind of think of the heel as like a kind of a triangle on its own, like so. This kind of calloused chunk right here, that is the heel, it makes up the heel of your foot. After that, there is the arch of the foot, which is kind of this middle bridge section. And how you communicate this, I just kind of give it just like a little curve on the bottom. It's like a little bit of a rhombus. And then the toe box, which is kind of like so. So it's not perfect, but it does kind of communicate a foot. So if I were to draw this down here without tracing on top of anything else, got the heel of the foot, comes up a little bit for the arch, and then the toe box, like so. So you can see it pretty much communicates foot, but it doesn't necessarily go into details about the foot, which is fine. And then from there, you just kind of work your way in details-wise. It's also important to note that the ankle is different on either side of the foot. The ankle is on the inside of the foot on this one. It's kind of the interior portion of the ankle. You don't really see it. It's a slight dent if you do see it at all. On the exterior portion of the foot, you can see on this foot, there is a curve. It's like a teardrop shape, like so, that kind of connects to your heel box, your curved top of the foot. Also, from this angle, since it's not directly on, a little bit curved, like so, and then your toe box. So your toe box, you can see here, your toes form kind of an arch, and not everybody's toes do this, but generally speaking, most toes kind of form like a sweeping arc, like so. Some people's toes, the middle toe is longer. This person has a longer middle toe, like so, but that's not everybody's toes. Really, it just depends on whose foot you're drawing. If you're drawing from reference, then just kind of draw what you see. But from the top, while we're at it on this foot, you don't really see the curve of the foot, but you do notice that it is longer on this side than it is on this side. This distance here is shorter, where it is on your pinky side of your foot. You can also actually see more of the ankle shape, more of that teardrop shape on either side of the foot before it goes up here. So you can't see the heel from this direction, generally. Sometimes you can, but on this person, their foot's not pressed down, so you can't see it. But you can see the sides of the ankle, so that's kind of an important thing to communicate. On this foot here, you can see that triangle shape of the heel, like so. The arch of the foot is kind of hidden, and then this is actually the toe box right here. And your teardrop shaped ankles, like so. This one is a little bit trickier. So the heel of the foot here, I would say looks more like a sphere. It would make less sense to draw it as a triangle from this direction, right? You can see a little bit of a curve, but not much. You've got, this goes down to here, where your toe box begins. Still got that sweeping kind of arc going on, and your toes. Teardrop shaped ankle, and up. So drawing feet is really only as complex as you make it. You can add a lot of things to make your feet more complex, but whenever you're just sketching out the basic structure, I think that this structure right here works well enough. There are lots of like the Proko video has a ton of really complex boxes and things stacked on top of each other for the arch, and like it looks like a bunch of mechanical parts put together, and I'm not really a huge fan of that because I don't really think of the interior of the foot as being a mechanical structure. I think of it as bones and muscle, and the feet, like the heel right here, that's just a bunch of callous skin. The best way to get to draw feet, though, is really just to practice getting used to seeing feet from different angles, trying not to constantly draw feet from the same angle. But once you have the basic structure, you can kind of, extrapolate what you need to draw. So if I'm drawing a foot that's on the ground, dead on, then I know my toe box is going to be coming forward. It's going to be maybe a little bit wider here, maybe a little bit here. Going to have a little bit of the ankles on either side, and toes, like so. And it's going to be pretty flat, very foreshortened. Whereas if I were drawing it like this angle right here, you can see everything on the foot, on that one. So for this, I want you to just practice drawing feet from many different angles. You can find reference pictures of feet on the internet. I would recommend searching foot photo reference, staying away from just drawn feet and trying to focus on like photographs like this one, where you can kind of practice just drawing from a bunch of different angles, seeing what kinds of shapes it breaks down into and getting comfortable with that. I recommend doing as many different angles as you can find, just all the time, just to practice, because they're not too difficult to draw from reference, but as soon as you start trying to imagine things, they get a little bit more complex. So as you can see here, I've got 5 references. I want you to find 10 different foot references and draw it from different angles. Draw the structure like this, or whatever way makes sense to you, as long as it looks structured, not just a triangle. Don't just draw that. That's not enough. Draw your structure and figure out what the general shape is, and then on 3 of them, I want you to do all the details, draw all the toes, draw all the the webbing between the toes, like so. So you can see it has like a little bit of a web between the toes, toenails, stuff like that. Okay, so 3 of those and 10 total, including all of the structured feet as well.